Jumbo community, thank you for joining in another evening of celebrating Kwanzaa here in Flagstaff, Northern Arizona. This broadcast is a part of the Lived Black Experience Project and is being brought to you in partnership or from the hub of the Murdoch Community Center. Um, Again, this is our third night, and the principle for this evening or for today is collective work and responsibility. And for those of you, if this is your first time joining us, an extra special welcome to you and thank you. This is actually the 54th year of Kwanzaa being celebrated around the world. And the founder or and creator of the visionary for Kwanzaa, Dr. Karinga, 54 years ago, created Kwanzaa, which means first harvest. And Kwanzaa has 7 principles, and that's why we're coming to you for 7 evenings to talk about each one of those principles and to celebrate those principles. Kwanzaa is about family, it's about community, it's about nation, and it's about the African American and or Black culture here in America. And so we come together as a community for these 7 nights to celebrate, to acknowledge Black culture, Black heritage, Black history, Black achievements, Black excellence. And so we started out the first night with umoja, which means unity. The second night or last evening was kujichagulia, which is self-determination. And tonight is Ujima, collective work and responsibility. And these 7 principles in Swahili are called Nguza Saba. And so, to kick off our celebration this evening, a very familiar face to the Lived Black Experience Project, my brother, my friend, my colleague, brother Dr. Ricardo Guthrie, is going to start us off with a poem. I think Ujima, brother?
Yes, indeed.
All right. Thank you. Take it away.
Thank you, Sister Bernadine. And I really appreciate being with you today. Kwanzaa is the ritual that we do as African Americans to celebrate global Blackness. And it goes beyond any one person. Sister Bernadine, myself, Mayor Coral, later you'll hear from a special guest who will be our main emissary tonight. It goes beyond one person. It's about all of us. And so please join with us in this ritual as we talk about what it means to be African American in the world today. I'm reading from a poetry book by Johnny Renee Nia Nelson, who is a San Diego native and a former Chicagoan who writes wonderful poems about Kwanzaa. So I'm talking about the third day of Kwanzaa, Ujima, collective work and responsibility, without which there can be no liberty. We subscribe to the belief that we collectively are responsible for our failures and for our deficiencies, as well as our accomplishments and our victories. We commit to the struggle to shape our destiny, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. And this is from Johnny Renee's book, Come Kwanzaa with Me. Together, we'll examine the history of an African people struggling to be free from colonialism, apartheid, and slavery. Come Kwanzaa with me. Come experience the wonders of an odyssey, ripe with the riches of a legacy, embroidered in love, crocheted in dignity. Come Kwanzaa with me. Come enjoy a cultural safari. Rediscover the grandeur of the African race. Come Kwanzaa with me at the Sphinx, Great Zimbabwe, or the Step Pyramid's base. Come Kwanzaa with me. Come taste a first fruits delicacy. Come drink the libation that is meant to be both tribute and salute to our ancestry. Let us commune with the legends of our legacy: Hannibal, Shaka, Nkrumah, Biko, Karenga, King, Truth, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. Let us honor our national treasures, ourselves, our children, our elderly. Come Kwanzaa with me. Come listen to a tom-tom rhapsody, to an mbira and a dun-dun symphony. Feel our rhythms, see our vibrancy, and African people in ecstasy. Come Kwanzaa with me. Together we'll create a memory as rich as a kente cloth tapestry. Listen to the drum. Come Kwanzaa with me. Thank you. This is from Johnny Renee Nelson. Come Kwanzaa with me. And today is Ujima, the third day of Kwanzaa, collective work and responsibility. Take it away, Sister Bernadine.
That is beautiful, Brother Ricardo. Come Kwanzaa with me. And that's what we're inviting all of our community to do this evening, and for the rest of, we're down after this evening, 4 more evenings to come and Kwanzaa with us. I like that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us this evening.
All right.
Now it gives me great pleasure, and I'm honored and humbled to introduce the woman that we call our chiefess here in the Black community of Flagstaff. She is the one that brings us together to do what needs to be done here in Flagstaff for the betterment of the Black community here. And we could think of no one more perfect to come and talk to us this evening about Ujima, collective work and responsibility, none other than our chiefess sister, our mentor, Miss Deborah Harris. Miss Deb, how are you? Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa to you too. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being here. We're excited to have you here, and we're just looking forward to what you have to share with us about Ujima this evening.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the invitation, and I feel really honored that I was asked to do this. This is a topic that is really near and dear to my heart. And so I've asked Reverend Lewis to go ahead and put up the collective Ujima, collective work and responsibility. And basically it says we must build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solve them together. And yes, to whom much is given, much is expected. Thank you. So let's talk about Ujima. It's the third principle in the Kwanzaa celebration. You've heard the other two earlier with Reverend Lewis when she talked about it. Collective work and responsibility, simply put, is what it says that we must build and maintain our community. It doesn't get much simpler than that. And so what I want to talk to you about with you tonight about is that what does this mean to me? Okay, we're responsible for our families, we're responsible for our neighborhoods, our community, our state, our country, and yeah, we're responsible for our planet. People often tease me about, they say, if Miss Deb tells you she's got an idea, you should run, okay? Because that idea for me usually is about a problem that I see in our community that needs to be addressed. And I'm always thinking and problem solving and trying to figure out how can I make our community better? How can I make this a better place for all of us to live and to grow and to experience. And so that's where my ideas come from, is that desire to want to, for our community to be better. Historically, we have learned that our survival is dependent on working together for the good of the many. So let's talk about even back when we were in the motherland. We realized then that we needed to hunt together, we needed to work together, we needed to plant and harvest so that we could survive. And yes, we needed to fight together too when it was time. We needed to come together to protect ourselves. And so this theory did not just start now, it has been a part of who we are for centuries. It even extended to the land we now call America, where we've been forced and we were forced into bondage. We brought that principle with us. We did not leave it in the motherland. We look at acts of responsibility, caring for each other, making sure that those newly arrived slaves understood their responsibility. We tried to take care of one another. We took care of children who were abandoned by their, by not abandoned, but children who were left because maybe a parent died. And so they became the responsibility of the rest of the slaves. And we took care of them, and we still do that today. We talk about the Underground Railroad, which is another example of us coming together to help each other, to get away from the conditions that we were living under. Even for some of us who were afraid to leave, we sometimes had to force them to leave because it was for their own good. And so this didn't just start, it has continued. We then went on to the civil rights movement when we had our leaders that understood it was necessary for them to step out and to even present their life as a sacrifice for the movement, knowing that this was the struggle and that the struggle needed to be taken up by them at that point in time. And they were willing to do that. We then go to the Black Power movement, where we look at the Black Panthers, and they came together to feed their community, to protect their community, to take care of their community, to educate their community. They were responsible. This was their responsibility. And then we look at the Black Lives Matter movement. And that movement has shown us that people around the world are partnering with us in that struggle. And so it's not just for us anymore. That struggle has become the struggle of all of us. We have learned that we are responsible for our collective achievements and our setbacks. We have learned that the survival of our community is reliant upon the collective work and responsibility of all of us. We teach our children, the next generation, that it is not only about them, but that they must be a part of the solution by being involved and giving back. We teach them that without collective work and struggle, progress is impossible. We are responsible for ourselves and for others. The principle of Ujima teaches us that our well-being is derived from our families and our community's well-being. When we think about Flagstaff, our community here, the community of Flagstaff was named Organization of the Year. And that's due to the COVID, our response to COVID. We reached out to our community. We tried to make sure that everyone was safe. We called those people who were not able to get out to make sure that they were okay. We took food to their doors and left them on their doorsteps. We took sanitizers, hand washing units, whatever we could do to those in our community who did not have access to those items. So as a community, we came together to deal with COVID, and we are still coming together to deal with the COVID crisis that we are now in. Community is important for all of us, the collective work and responsibility. The lesson is always in the struggle, and from this lesson, we will learn, from this struggle, we will learn many lessons. We will learn that there's nothing that we can't do if we can come together. And so it teaches us that we must be concerned with the overall health of our families, of our community, and that it teaches us that we are bound together. And finally, it teaches us that we must build and maintain our community together. We are truly our brothers and sisters keepers. And so with that, I just want to say thank you so much and continue to be a part of the community and continue to practice Ujima, because it is all of our responsibility to live, to work, and to collectively make sure that our community is okay. And so with that, Reverend Lewis, I thank you.
Thank you, Chiefess Deb. I want to ask you one question. When it comes to collective work, do you think you as an individual who is known, and I'm going to bring in Brother Ricardo on this so we're all on the screen, you will often call us together with something that you have realize that we need to address within our community. Do you think, and we all know, and I have to let the community know, we know, Brother Ricardo and I and Madam Sister Mayor, we cannot say no to you. We do not say no. When you call upon us, we just ask, what is it that we're getting ready to do? And we rally together and we do it. Do you think, and tonight is the night to answer this question so we'll know, are you given these dreams and visions like Sister Harriet Tubman, or is this a moral obligation? I mean, what's your thought process when you bring us together?
That is an excellent question. You know what? It is a little bit of both. Sometimes I will wake up in the middle of the night and I will think about something that I think needs to be addressed or needs to be done. And I will start formulating that in my mind. And then I'll start thinking about who in the community can help with that particular issue or activity or event. Sometimes it's determined by an event that might have happened. And that we need to respond to that event. An example would be the issue with the Rio de Flag, which is near and dear to my heart, because I am still concerned about so many of our residents who are going to be affected by that 100-year flood. It's not a matter of will it come, it's when will it come, and it will come. And so to rally people together to help them understand the importance of collective work, to come together to resolve an issue that is affecting a part of our community. And so it's a little bit of both. So sometimes I'm not going to say that they are visions, but I will say that I'm a spiritual person. And so I think that the God I serve puts things on my heart and in my mind, and gives me the opportunity to bring other people into the fold to help bring whatever needs to happen to happen. And I really do feel that the more our community comes together, and the more we talk to one another, the more we participate in activities or we problem solve together, the stronger we will become as a community.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a little bit of both.
And we have a comment that was added. We know that you will send an email like you did at 3 a.m. on Christmas Day about an idea. So we are all too familiar with a phone call, a text message, an email. When we see Deborah Ann Harris, we know that we are being called to duty. And Brother Ricardo, I'm going to ask you to weigh in on that too, because you and I are just a year apart from being here in Flagstaff and working along with Miss Deb.
Yeah.
Do you have a story, any particular story that stands out to you when you've been called into collective work duty?
I sure do. Thank you so much. You know, I came here from San Diego in 2008, right before the economic collapse. And the question that I had was, what are all these people doing in a place called Flagstaff? And I got a chance to come in and interview. I think it was Deb's birthday, and we had the faculty there, and Deb mentioned it was her birthday, and I said, well, you know what? This is interesting because I never would have selected this place and this time, but Deb had said, well, these people are here and they're looking for this type of person. If you are that person, fine. If not, we'll understand. And later I said, well, this is part of my tribe. And I meant that in the best possible way. And part of that was being there on Deb's birthday to have dinner with this group of people. And as a result, it wasn't like we were being imposed upon, you know, can you come and serve? Yes. And within, I think, the first month of my being hired, I think what Deb was saying was, we have this center called the Murdoch Center, and we'd like to start a art gallery. And so I worked with Coral Evans at the time. She was a city councilor, and with Deb. And I felt like all you needed was one or two people to really make this happen. And we were lucky enough to have both Deb and Coral in at the same time to start that gallery. And if we fast forward another year or so, that's when we met Reverend Bernadine, because she came to the gallery saying, what is this? And I didn't know Flagstaff had these things. And so I mentioned that story because one person inviting me in to be part of their work, inviting another, you know, person like Bernadine, that has a ripple effect. And so it isn't like at 3 a.m. you're being put upon. It's like 3 a.m. Yeah, this is a great idea. Why not? And you know, sometimes it's hard work, but it's good work. And finally, whenever two are gathered in His name, then you know something good will be happening. And so that's what it was like. Two or more gathered in His name.
That's it. That's it.
And just to be clear, that my expectation is not that people will answer my emails at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's just me emailing and texting because it's on my mind and I have to get it off. Otherwise, I'll forget it. You know, so no response is expected until the morning.
We want you to know that if we get an email from Miss Deborah Ann Harris at 3 a.m., that's like the city calling on Batman or it's superhero. We've got work to do, but it's a pleasure and an honor, and the reason why this is the reason why I acknowledge Miss Deb as our chiefess, because it's not for me just any old title. She is our elder meaning she is the wise one in our community, that when many of us, as Brother Ricardo said, being new here, and Ricardo and Sister Sean, his queen, they were the first two people that I met on campus, and they were like, you've got to meet Miss Deb. And in meeting her, I immediately knew why. She is that energy, that glue that keeps us together. And that indeed is a blessing. And so before we come to the end of this celebration broadcast, we've been coming to the, we've been doing these broadcasts since June. We started off with the first one being a Juneteenth celebration because we knew due to COVID we could not come together. And I think thus far, we've been doing these bi-weekly broadcasts and some hot topics in between. I think we have brought to the community, I know, well over 30 discussions on various issues that concern or that focus on the lived Black experience. And this is a project that some of us got together to do because we felt the need and we acknowledged that it was time to inform, to educate our community, particularly our brothers and sisters who do not look like us. And so to do this project, it takes camera work. It takes a platform to be able to do this. The coming together on people's personal time or extra time to discuss what topics are relative. And so there is a cost, to be quite honest, in doing this project. And we've been able to do this thus far. And now we're asking the community, we're making an appeal to the community to begin to support us. We want to continue to provide this free programming to our community. And apparently we have some community members, viewers from other states, other regions who like this and want to continue to see us come. And we've already started planning. We're already into February or March for our programming. So we're asking if the community would consider making a donation to this project. And you can make the donation payable to the Southside Community Association. And there's an address in our comments. And if you do, if you are impressed to give us a donation, please make sure that you designate that donation to the lived Black experience. We would so much appreciate it. We are very excited and we're honored to be able to come and do these programs for you. And so, Ms. Deb, give everyone a thank you, because I want everyone to know that you really are the motivator, the influencer behind this. I have no problem saying that you're our boss. So you're like the network, the CEO network president. And so I'll let you make a final thank you to the community.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you. The Murdoch Center, which is where the Southside Community Association operates. We operate out of that building. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. And so if you're looking for end of the year opportunities to donate, we would really appreciate your support and your help. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who listens, whether you're in Flagstaff, in Arizona, or you're across, the country. We do appreciate you. We have an email address. Feel free to reach out to us and email us if you have questions or concerns, or if you come up with a topic that you think we should touch on. We would appreciate that. And I just appreciate the people in our community who we have asked to be a part of this, and they have willingly supported us with their time and their experience and their expertise. And so we do appreciate all of you, and we thank you for all of your work, your hard work. Again, collective work and responsibility. And that's what we're doing tonight, Ujima.
So I see that. Thank you, Ms. Deb. Before we light our candle this evening for Ujima, Brother Ricardo, I think there was a question in our comments from a viewer, and would you answer that before we light our candle?
Yes, thank you for indulging. There are a couple of questions. What does community mean for the individual? And I had to put in the chat there. I got to talk about that. There's a concept called Ubuntu, from South Africa. Ubuntu means that I am a person because other people made me a person, which means I don't exist by myself. Ubuntu means we think, therefore we are, as opposed to I think, therefore I am. Western concepts of the individual don't get erased, but become amplified because I am who I am because of Deb, because of Bernadine, because of Coral, because of Sean, and it grows. I am an intersectional person. And so I just have to say that because Ubuntu is a take on collectivity that doesn't erase the individual, but shows us who we are. We don't become a person until other people tell us how to be. And they did studies of this, of children who are left alone or don't have a mother or don't have any warmth. They never really become fully engaged, and their identity, right, suffers. And we won't extrapolate on the psychology of that, but a person becomes a person because of other people, Ubuntu. And for Kwanzaa, I say that because a lot of people may not know that it's gone beyond an individual idea of what Kwanzaa is. It's now our collective idea. It's beyond where I think any individual might have taken control of it. And so that's what I had to say. I'm sorry, kind of get long-winded, but because it is so important that the individual becomes part of a community, otherwise he or she doesn't exist. And I don't know, there are many examples of that. We'll talk about it in the next couple of days, I'm sure. Thank you for giving me that chance.
No, thank you for addressing that. And that's the perfect closing for this evening's celebration of Ujima. We are one. And I am because Miss Deb is, because my brother Ricardo is, because Sister Honorable Mayor is. I'm able to say I am and we are. And that is very powerful. And that is what Kwanzaa is all about. Acknowledging who we are, from whence we have come. And so with that being said, we thank the community, and the community is all of our viewers, no matter where you are. We're lighting the candle of Ujima this evening, and we are remembering unity, self-determination, collective work, and responsibility. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. Please join us again on tomorrow. Peace and blessings.